Hi everyone, I'm Teacher Lu. Today we are going to talk about the nuclear power plant. If you agree with the nuclear power, show me your hands. Wow! So all of you want to have nuclear power plant? Does anyone know how to deal with the risk of having it? Does anyone want to share your opinion? Let's start from you.
One of the big risks people consider is how to deal with the nuclear waste. At the current stage, Taiwan chose to store the nuclear waste, that is, to put the waste in a steel drum covered with hot-dip galvanizing. The government should take the responsibility of monitoring the nuclear waste constantly and should replace the rusted drum with a new one. Though it doesn't get rusty easily, this action may minimize the risk of disaster. In the future, we can look forward to high technology. Nuclear waste reprocessing may be a new solution. In fact, nuclear waste isn't actually waste at all. According to a scientific study, about 27,000 metric tons of high-level nuclear waste that exist worldwide can be turned into enough electricity to power the entire world for 72 years. And as we extract all the remaining energy of the nuclear waste, its radioactive lifetime simultaneously reduced. There are now many countries and experts studying the projects of the nuclear waste reprocessing. For example, Bill Gates has launched his work, the traveling wave reactor, which also uses the principle we have discussed above.
And you?
The so-called thermal pollution is caused by waste heat from modern industrial production. The hot water discharge from a nuclear power plant cooling system contains a large amount of waste heat. After the waste heat is discharged into the surface water body, the water temperature can be raised up to 10 degrees Celsius. Thermal pollution can pollute not only the water, but the atmosphere. The most influence of thermal pollution is about aquatic organisms. The reduction of the dissolved oxygen in water due to the increasing in water temperature, causing creatures' death. The rise in water temperature also causes disease to breed and prevalence. So, an efficiency cooling system or a storage tank about wastewater from nuclear plants is necessary and emergency.
And you?
One of the risks of the nuclear power is the radioactive material. Nuclear power plants were designed to prevent the radiation leak. So, now I'm going to tell you some lines of defense of the nuclear power plants. The reaction happens in a structure called fuel pellet, and actually most of the radioactive materials are trapped in it. The second is fuel rod. It can bear high temperature and high stress. The third is responsiveness and stable design. It means if the system temperature and the stress is too high, the reaction will be inhibited to promise a reaction go through safely.
The fourth is the reactor control system, include control rod and SPLC system, short for standby boron liquid control system. When the temperature and pressure in the reactor is severely higher than standard situation, they can stop the nuclear reaction immediately. The fifth is the reactor vessel. It is a high-strength metal container with a thickness of 30 centimeters and a weight of 1,000 tons. It can enclose the radioactive matter in it when the radioactive matter leaks out from the fuel rod. The sixth is ECCS, short for Emergency Core Cooling System. Water is important for cooling the reactor. An ECCS system can make sure that there is enough water. The last one is containment building. It is built by reinforced concrete and have a wall with thickness of 2 meters. It can also prevent radioactive matter to leak out.
How about you?
Every person must have experienced an earthquake in Taiwan, whether it is a large one or a small one. So we might worry about how the nuclear power plants would be when an earthquake happened. In fact, before deciding where to build the nuclear power plant, the government and the experts had already done lots of research about the whole environment nearby the place that they chose to build the nuclear power plant. And the research includes geology, meteorology, and etc. When doing the risk assessment, the government would strengthen the protection of the thing that they thought had a higher risk. As all we know that Taiwan is on the seismic zone, which means a plenty of earthquakes happen on this island, and our government had made the protection for earthquakes of our nuclear power plant stronger than the usual one had. Have you ever think about why all the nuclear power plants were set in northern Taiwan? It is true that a great group of people live in this area, but this area also has a great less of seismic activities than other regions in Taiwan. So, is it really that dangerous to have nuclear power plants in Taiwan?
Finally, I want to talk about my opinion.
In Taiwan, according to the latest survey, the site's design height of existing power plants is higher than the estimated height of the tsunami. But for the sake of insurance, the government further requires nuclear power plants to have the height resist the tsunami plus 6 meters of anti-tsunami capacity. The current nuclear power plant will add a tsunami wall to ensure the normal operation. In case of emergency, fresh water is directly poured into the reaction furnace. In addition to emergency power usage, emergency cool water is also important. Taiwan's nuclear power plants have tens of thousands of towns poor at high altitudes, and fresh water is injected into the reactor when necessary. The overall inspection has revealed the seismic structure of the raw water tank, and the pipeline is clearly piped, directly connected to the reaction furnace and used for power.
What a good class!